I think we are live. Should be. But before I even start, I want to quickly start this by saying nothing I say in this live stream or video is financial advice. Everything is just my own thoughts, my own journey, and whatever I'm doing, don't copy it because I'm just a random person on the internet that you should not trust for advice because nothing I say in this video is advice. Right? Nothing I say is guaranteed. I am guaranteeing you nothing, except hopefully for entertainment. But generally speaking, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is financial advice. I don't know what else to tell you. All right, I just told y'all I was getting a little beb, and that is not the beverage you might expect. It is orange juice and coffee in the hotel. And maybe just by watching, you know where this is from. But a variety of different croissants. But for some reason, all they have here is like these weird pointy ass croissants. I don't know. Some countries do it differently, I guess. You know, some countries are weird. Regardless, we've been cooking. Oh shit, wrong account. Where's my blowfin? We've been cooking. This was supposed to be a bit more climactic, but there we go. This was at 193 just now when I wanted to start streaming, and then I realized, no, I'm going to need like a drink or something to do that. So it's back to 186, but still not too bad. Not too bad of a plus in the trade, especially for the amount of days we've been in this one. Definitely not too bad. And if you've been watching a few days, you might be wondering, hey, how are some of the newer positions doing? Well, 50-50. Who was here last night? Hey, actually, of all y'all in the chat, who was here last night watching the stream? We were here for a long ass time. All right, it was so much fun. Who was here last night? The fact is, it was like just like 12 hours ago, not even. So a lot of people probably are sleeping right now, but let's just see. Who was here about 12 hours ago? Justin was here. All right. John was here. Kara was here. 𝗕�00 says he missed it. Oh, that's sad, brother. But hey, you know, at least you're here now. Here we go. Oh, that scared me. Okay, we good? We good? Let me close some stuff. That was bad. How do I do this? Give me a second. Here we go. Let me pop this out. I'm just popping out the text so we can again see the chat whilst I'm streaming. There we go. That's how we do it. All right. So, conclusion of today. What's going on right now today? Well, almost any one of the positions we opened last night has been grinding out nicely. Because remember, a big part of the positions that we open, we're not opening them for the unrealized P&L. We're opening them for the grid profits with a huge P&L as a side effect, right? So for example, IOTA, we opened last night, 24 hours ago, and realized that it was able to generate us 1% in cashed out, basically buys and sells in a day. Right? I know it's also up like $1,000 on the 5K we put in, which is amazing, but that is all temporary. You know, this can be up tremendously, could be down. I prefer to look at the grids because that's, again, what is cashing out all the time. Right? So then we consider what's been happening for the past few days and we realize, hey, with the amount of money we got, the amount of daily grid profits that it's making is actually pretty insane. Obviously, it's because times are volatile, but that's also what we're buying. Remember, last night, for some of you that were here, I don't have to explain. For some of y'all, I have to explain. So last night, Algorand was up 40%. And I asked the chat, should we buy into a bot regardless, even though it's up 40% in a day? And it was yes. All right. There were some people saying no, but some people were saying yes. So I was like, let's open it up. And it went down instantly. You want to know a fun fact? Even though we are down, okay, I can hear crazy police again outside. Even though we're down a few $100s on the bot, it still actually in the last 12 hours was able to generate us $10 of cashed out profits. And that's the fun thing. Over time, this will just keep grinding up to just completely wash away all the unrealized P&L loss. But also, I placed a buy at, I don't remember exactly what level, here at 25 cents. If it were to go down to 25 cents, I double it up. And that's also one of the things I think is really, really smart about these things, just to average in case you buy high, but at least have a position in. Because again, and sorry if it's lagging, by the way, guys, I can't help you all with that. But there was a few others. Soms heb ik op mijn werk in de bouw mijn oortje in om mee te luisteren. Lekker grap. That's nice. I was going to say, some of these, like for example, the ETH bot that I have somewhere. He says, by the way, that sometimes while I'm at work, I have like a little earpiece in just so I can listen in. I was going to say the ETH bot, it's the same for just an ETH position, really, right? Where if you get into a position, in this case, we bought into a 20% pump, but it pumped way further. Again, I want to solidify one of the main theories, though. So, again, I just want to quickly see a real roll call. Who was here when I explained why buying into a Bitcoin pump tends to be a really good idea? So just a little vote. Who was here already when I explained why, from a risk-reward perspective, it makes a lot of sense? It was last night in the stream, and once I show you here why it is almost always worth it to buy into a Bitcoin pump, I don't think there'll be anybody questioning anymore why I say it's not even a stupid, crazy spot to go all in. You said like 100 times? That's good. So by that logic, is everybody all in? All in from a risk-reward perspective is not that good, right? Because you do not know if things happen instantly or if you see like a 20% move down first. But, I know, I'll explain it one more time. You know what? I'll explain it one more time for all the people that are new here. Again, we have freaking 400 people watching right now. If you've not pressed that like button yet, press it right now. If you didn't do it yet, well, you don't get anything for pressing the like, by the way. It's just nice. I'm starting to become more demanding of the likes. Oh, what a day, huh? What a day. Where's the chat? Here we go. So I'm explaining one more time just because I feel like I have to, even though I've explained it 100 times already. So what I explained last night was, if you take a look at the Bitcoin chart and you take a look at every single time that Bitcoin went for a breakthrough of the previous high. So again, we take this point right there as a high. The moment it broke through, so right there, it pretty quickly, the moment it broke through, you can see right here, this is the moment that I'll show you with the angle. This is the moment that it broke through. It just went for a crazy astronomical run pretty quickly afterwards of multiple weeks. Again, we made a new high in that rally. Once that high was really broken, this is like a retest, right? Once it was broken right there, you can see the crazy spurt that it was making. It made a new high, went sideways, sideways, sideways. The moment that high was broken with the confirming candle, you can see the crazy surge that happened afterwards. Again, made a new high right there at this level. The moment that it was broken, one retest, two retests, the moment it was broken right there with the confirming candle, the crazy splurge that happened afterwards. Now, one, two, third retest with a little break, but then fell right back below, so we got to put this slightly higher. Let's just put it right there. The moment this was broken, which is right now, we expect a crazy surge to happen afterwards. Again, just partially based on the fact that it happened every single time in this cycle. Does it have to happen again? No, but it does make a whole lot of sense. And again, this does not always apply. Well, theoretically speaking, it always applied if you're patient, because even in the bear market, it does work like that. But here, the impulse is downwards. And theoretically speaking, you can say the same thing. For when that local low is broken, right, you just go crashing down. So whenever you break that local low, you actually go down further. But I don't like to talk about shorting in a good market like this. Who cares about that, right? We're talking about freaking, we like to pump them over here. Nah. But even if you go further back, it doesn't matter if you go on the shorter scale, the broader scale, it always works. If you talk about this top right here, the moment you took it out, you can see right there, it was just crazy pumps afterwards. Even on a more local level, the moment we had this top right here, when we took it out, crazy pump right here, right? The moment we were able to take out this previous top, not the craziest of pumps, but still a pretty good pump nonetheless. It almost always works. If you have a bullish impulse, making a new top, they go down, but the moment you break that top, it tends to be a part where things go rally. Here again, another example, even on the shorter term. Crazy impulse upwards, right? We get ourselves retest, one right there. The moment it was broken through, though, the market just starts pumping up tremendously. It works almost every single time. Here again, same principle apply almost every single time. Crazy pump, high was made. Price goes down, nice little correction of sorts. The moment it broke through, you can see the crazy wave that it made afterwards. And again, here it applies one more time. New impulse, or I guess the impulse resulted in a high. The price broke down. The moment we broke that high again, crazy price surge afterwards. Again, local high. We made a good correction. The moment we broke that high again, crazy surge afterwards. I can keep going. Local high. Price moved downwards. The moment it broke through, pretty crazy surge afterwards. Local high. You get it, right? It almost works like that every single time. There's only a few scenarios in which it doesn't, but I can't even find them right now. Because all the way back towards 2016, it happened like this every single time. So, from that logic, again, my personal thoughts are that the best thing one can do is buy in hard into every single Bitcoin breakout, even though people might look at this and think, no, this is where you sell. No, it tends to be the area which you have some of the easiest buys. It tends to be. Historically, this is one of the easier systems. Lag? Ooh, I see it's 13%. So what can I do to fix it? It's a hotel, and I asked them to put my internet faster, and they said can't do it. What I can recommend you is put the stream like, click it one backwards, so it's just a few seconds behind, you know what I mean? So maybe it doesn't buffer as much. What else can I do? Are you in the bathroom at Goodwill? You'd be surprised, right? If you live in hotels, which I do, you realize that even the most expensive, you can have a $4,000 hotel room and the internet is kind of iffy. So, I'll counter that by saying, it can't be anywhere. It can be in the middle of Los Angeles and you're like, what's going on with this internet? Because even the Ritz-Carlton in Los Angeles, for example, it's pretty garbage, the internet they've got. And you think, I'm going to go to a place. I'm going to the most expensive thing I can find. Iffy. Not always, but, a lot of hotels, they don't got their stuff set up right. In Asia, though, in general, almost everywhere stays just immaculate. By the way, I do wonder if the same principles what we just talked about with buying the breakout also work for ETH. The reason it kind of doesn't look like it is because we've been basically trading below this 4K mark for all these years. So there's been no breakout of the higher high in forever. Right? This is what we saw over the last year or so. And fun fact, ETH actually went all the way towards what? Like $4,000 also back in the beginning of 2024. I completely forgot about that move. Nana says, the best thing about hotels is the breakfast. So I have breakfast at every morning, right? But I've never gone in like a few weeks because I don't wake up early enough. What is this chart, the 4 hour? It's the weekly chart, my friend. This is for Ethereum. Let me quickly move up a little bit so you can see. There you go. This is the weekly chart for Ethereum. It was just to showcase perhaps a similarity that we have seen with Bitcoin. I'm going to state that I do believe it most likely also works. I do believe if you tend to look at these local tops, for example, the one right here, the moment it was taken out, indeed, it's a pretty quick surge afterwards, but there's just a little bit less of them. Yeah, because again, this is a downwards move that we were making right here throughout these months. And the moment you saw some pumps, this one, for example, it still does apply, but not as significantly. Right, because for example, once we had this local high, the moment we broke out, it was another 2 weeks or so of gain, or another week or so of gains, but not as severe. And this one, it did work out, but then again, if you bought into the crazy green candle, it would have worked. If you bought after, it would have still worked, but not as optimally as with Bitcoin. In this case here, again, on the move downwards, it would have definitely not looked too beautiful. But I guess we're at this point now where this local high right there at roughly, let's quickly see the price, at roughly 2,800. That's kind of what we are breaking right now, right? That's the one we are facing to break right now. And that's basically where we again could be buying in for to get ourselves a hopefully massive rally based on the fact that it happened for Bitcoin like this every single time. So that would be kind of the plan right here. If we wanted to buy ETH, which again, that's a very, very big if. I'm not sure why you'd want to buy Ethereum, but if you wanted to, this is, I guess, the thought process behind that coin. Hey, if you had to name one coin, right? Which is the one that you guys are most fans of? To name just one. Let's see what we got today. If you had to name just one coin that you want to hold for a while, which one would it be? Here? 𝗕𝗓, XRP. Let's see. 𝗕𝗓, BTC, XRP, 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗍, and XRP. Why 𝗍𝗍? No, not bad, by the way. I'm just wondering. 𝗍𝗍 is not one of those coins that I see too often. Oh, my camera is stuck again, it seems. Bitcoin, then XRP, and then ADA. Fair list, fair list. Algorand, Solana, XRP, VeChain, Ondo. Did you get the chocolate out of your pocket, Dusty? Hey, brother. I thought we were never going to talk about that one. Nobody had to know. Nobody had to know about it. All right. I see who's doing my dirty right now, all right? He is the type of person. You're standing right there, chilling. Everything is good, right? And he's like, hey, do you remember the money you owe me? And everybody's watching. Oh, right? He's the one of those, huh? I see what type of person you are. All right. Sleek. But all right. Doing me dirty like that, brother. All right. Interesting. So let's see here real quick. Algorand, excellent. Ondo. So Ondo's an interesting one. Ondo I don't see that often as well. So 𝗍𝗍 I do have. I'm just thinking also with which ones I've set up a nice little trading strategy. 𝗕𝗓 we have. I'm not sure if you meant here or if you just said I'm here. XRP we have. 𝗕𝗓 we have. Bitcoin we have. You know, I'm even thinking of opening just a new one for Bitcoin. Because some people were asking, hey, Dusty, can you do a $10K to $1 million challenge also with BTC? So again, it's slower, but, quote unquote, safer. And the thing is, essentially, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say here is financial advice. Nothing I say is guaranteed. But I always say that a strategy like a BTC 100X is really not that hard. The problem is the amount of time that it takes. That's the hardest part. So again, the idea there being that if you look at Bitcoin throughout history, if it were to just repeat, everybody would be able to do it because the price has only gone up. So with leverage, that makes it easier. But the only problem is, will eventually this Bitcoin pattern break? I don't think so, because if we take a look at some of the most recent news that came out, let me quickly open Twitter and show you. If we take a look, right, this whole Bitcoin thing has just become BlackRock's most looking at the pump fund situation right now. Let me go give it a little watch. Let me see how this is doing. I mean, it could be worse. But they just launched like a few minutes ago, like maybe 20 minutes ago. It's still up 50% almost from the start. No, up 25%, I guess. So pump fun is not too much fun right now, huh? Interesting. So I just wanted to quickly see what's going on right there. As I was saying though, because my original point was to quickly showcase, but then all of a sudden I got caught up, that this right here.
In an ether for
I see a 10 schmeckles came in. Let me quickly see that. Rem says only love. We're coming in with the 10. So what just happened is he exposed one of my darkest secrets. Something that happened last night that should never have been named. Right? I made a mistake with something that shall never be talked about again. You know? Something happened to this which should not be named. And he decided to do the unthinkable. In front of all my bestest of friends, he decided to put me on the spot. But it's love. And I appreciate that. If you're wondering what happened, we shall never talk about it no more. Alright, so just want to quickly show you one video here, 1 minute. And I think it's quite interesting. So let's just quickly take a little bit of a look. I'll mute my mic.
Tantrum into a comfortably bullish state of mind here. Let's hone in on the Bitcoin and Ether for a minute here. And since the rally has been all the news today, it's showing in the flows. I think the ETFs have been part of the rally. If you look, this shows the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and here's the spot Ether. So Ether's smaller, but definitely it's trending up. But look at the Bitcoin ETFs. They've taken in $50 billion since they came out. So they came out in January. They had 28 because GBTC was a conversion. Now, all the way up there, $155 billion in assets. IBIT, more than half. Now, the 20th biggest ETF overall, 7th biggest for BlackRock, and most profitable for BlackRock. So, 300% return since the ETF was filed 2 years ago, Scarlett. And boom, what an explosion of growth.
Yeah, that chart really shows it all. Eric, thank you so much. Joining our conversation now is 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗀𝗃 Jablonski. She's CEO.
Peter says, I just woke up, was watching you at 2:30 a.m. your time, came back from work. Yeah, sometimes it's funny that I realize people, they must really think, what, this guy does not do anything else than just talk about the charts every single day. Kinder Bueno? No, it's not Bueno, it's Kinder, well, it's a little bit too smushed to realize what exactly it was. But something happened to this son of a gun. When XRP ETF? The thing is, I wouldn't necessarily be that excited about an XRP ETF. It's all about demand, right? Now, for Bitcoin, the demand has really been there. Also, partially because Bitcoin pumped so much, but also because it made sense. If an XRP ETF or some of these altcoins were to flow in, I kind of think the real big thing for it is if the price were to move, then the ETF will be really, really hot. But it's not necessarily the opposite way. When the ETF is really, really hot, the price moves because, well, why would they want to buy the ETF? Is there a lot of volatility? Is there something really cool going on? So I think a bit further into the market, right, into the season, I should say, when the market's trending up mostly. Now, I think for overall performance, it might be better to have the ETFs in there already. But, again, I'm also a logician in the sense that I kind of still believe that if an ETF were to be announced, when all of a sudden the market's trending upwards really, really hard, the FOMO will be harder. And since the gains will flow then, it will just kind of go in a beautiful positive feedback loop. Whereas if it were to happen now, if the price gets a little bit of a correction going, right, it's not at the start of the rally no more. It's actually pretty high into a rally. Paul says, Dusty man, would VeChain be any good for a bot? Because all it ever does is just babble about. Yes, I'll get a 𝗕𝗁𝗀𝗃 going as well. Bobbling about, to be honest, is actually really preferable for most of the bots. Why? Because you make money on the volatility. The counter is you want the asset to eventually go up, and I'm not the biggest VeChain bull anymore. And from that angle, I can open it up if you guys want to. I can set some settings in. But again, you got to also understand that some of your coins will not perform as well as others, but that's fine because you have your winners to take out the losers. Nana says, I remember those Kinder eggs. Remember when they used to be good? Like Kinder eggs maybe 10, 15 years ago used to be amazing, where it's just a chocolate egg, brown on the outside, white on the inside, with a yellow ball inside that's like meant for you to to open up, get a toy out of. But then I realized in different countries, the people there, you know, the kids cannot be trusted because they'd eat the yellow ball or something like that and maybe choke on it or something like that. So what they did, right, because it was too hazardous, is they made it so that it's two sides of, oh, it's just awful. There. Let me go find it out. They had the most this had some of the most amazing, this was amazing. It was this right here, right? This exactly is what it was. And then they changed it to this right here. Absolutely garbage tier. Why? Because, you know, I guess kids were not able to eat them properly, but this was so good. You had to be there. If you know, you know. Kareem says, I just gave you the price for XRP for this year. Yeah, that is sometimes scary to think about. You know what the funny thing is? €7 a coin. I don't think it's that high. I even think if people say 7 is what it's going to hit, I'm like, that's way too low. And the funny thing is, I know people are laughing at it right now, but I said the same thing talking about an all-time high, We could have an all-time high for XRP within a day, right? I mean, it's not happening right now, sure, this second. But it could happen later today, and I wouldn't even be that surprised. Because this is where the markets move really quickly. People have forgotten because an alt season is far away. It was good candy, it was. I wonder, what were the most famous candies in the 2000s? Or in the 1990s? You know what's also funny? The 2000s is what? It's like 25, okay, I guess 20 years ago. This, I think, has a lot of overlap. This I don't even know. Ouch, bubblegum. Maybe I do. Warheads. A lot of this is overlapping. Oh, damn. Interesting. Snob balls? Who's buying this? Who's buying this? Damn. Interesting. Anyway, tragic. Those were the best. XRP is only like 60p away from all-time high. It's possible. You know, even Bitcoin could go up $25,000 in a day, and I wouldn't really be that surprised. Because in previous bull runs, it's also done similar percents in a day. It's just that people have gotten so not used to seeing Bitcoin gaining that they're like, oh, that's crazy. But right now, going up like $2,000 in a day, people are already panicking, saying, wow. But it could go up 20, 25K. And I wouldn't really even be like, whoa, that's insanity. Watcher. So another announcement. President Trump said, I go on TV and the market goes wild. Can move it just by talking. I wonder how Trump must be feeling recently here. That man must be freaking, That must be feeling, he must be feeling amazing, right? In unstoppable. Snoop-a-peer. That used to be, which depends. I think there's two. There's one of the ones that's like candy paper that's really thin, really garbage. And then there's another one probably like more like a candy roll of sorts that used to be really good. So again, we're looking up best candies of the 90s. Who was a kid in the 90s? Who was a kid in the 2000s? Who was a kid in the 80s? I don't know. I'm not that familiar with 80s candy. I'm not that old, guys. Oh, this is the candy y'all had? In the 80s, really? Oh, candy has come a long way, I guess, huh? This is just sad. If this is your candy, oh, okay, but this looks pretty good. Candy memories from the 80s. Let's see. Let's take a little look. Starbursts, that I know. Fun Dip. Oh, that was amazing. Skittles, Nerds. Okay, I guess it's all kind of the same, huh? Hubba Bubba Gum. Amazing. I remember all that. By the way, lads, if you've not done it yet, make sure you go ahead and press that like button on the stream. You don't have to. You'll gain absolutely nothing by pressing that button, but we have quite a crowd here today. All right, so make sure you press that button if you haven't done it yet. I know we are a bit laggy, so sorry about that. What I recommend y'all to do maybe is just click back like maybe 30 seconds. So yes, you're going to be 30 seconds behind on the stream, but at least it won't be as buffery the whole time. I can see that like 10% of my frames are dropping, but it's the internet here in the hotel, and I can't do anything about it. It is not slow, by the way. The internet is actually quite fast, but it's quite inconsistent. And there's literally nothing I can do. I've already called them. Runts, this is still around. Wacky waivers, this I remember also. These waiver type of things. Not my top tier type of candy, but hey. Oh. You're saying Laffy Taffy. Let me find that out. What is Laffy Taffy? Oh, this I have never seen before in my life, I think. Maybe it's really local, though. Laffy Taffy. Maybe I have. I mean, they all kind of look the same, though, right? All these candy bars. They all kind of look the same to me. Not gonna lie. Anyway, so besides the point, as it currently stands, what's the market doing? Are any of our coins performing? You know, it's still a little fun fact. Ooh, I've closed the why have I closed that way? Give me a second. Let me find it. Where did it go? Here we go. All right, looking it back up. So, out of all my positions, I'm still just kind of wondering, which one is the best, which one is the worst? So the only ones that's not in here is my 𝗖𝗓𝗧, I think. And 𝗖𝗓𝗧 is in. Okay, so only Algorand is not in. But in grid APR, by far the best have been the ones I opened recently. Because again, they are in volatility. And so if you extrapolate it towards like a yearly time, it looks like they are amazing, right? Because again, it's up 20% or so in a day. And grid-wise, it's also up like 1% or so in a day. So over a yearly period, that's a lot. P&L-wise, I think it's still XLM, right? So again, still, it's so funny to me how out of everything, XLM is the best performer in our entire list of every single thing. It's so insane to consider that this is how things have changed. Haribo is the king of all candy. Skittles, Haribo, there's a lot of good ass candy. Okay, if you guys had to name one, what is your number one favorite candy right now? Like, not right now, I don't eat candy ever, but like in the world, ever, if you can remember. And by the way, I realize this is not good for the stream numbers, by the way. Like, we dropped from 400 to 250 when talking about candy, but I also got to understand that I can talk about whatever I want to talk about, because right now I'm thinking, man, this is really, really interesting to see what you guys all think. David Schwartz just talked about XRP analogy. What did he say? What did he say? He said, it's nice to see ETH over 3,000 again. Let's see. What about XRP? David says, I feel good when prices are high because I hate to think that people are losing money. But I'm truly not sure how much focus on price is the right amount, especially since price doesn't seem to correlate very much with other good things like solving real-world problems. I like that. I should say that price doesn't seem to correlate with true value, utility, or ability to solve real-world problems in the short term. It's certainly possible that it does over longer terms. Vet says, what problem is Bitcoin solving today then, huh? David says, well, this is going to be kind of a long one. The set of actual... Okay, let's go sit down for this one. The set of actual... Can you guys see my screen? We all good? Yes, we are. Of actual real-world problems... There we go. Needs to be a bit smaller. The set of actual real-world problems being solved by cryptocurrencies today is really small. But I think the hope for Bitcoin is that a solid layer 1 and early start will secure it a position as a currency of choice in an evolving digital asset ecosystem, even if the vast majority of its transactions don't take place on Bitcoin's layer 1. Perhaps a robust, healthy proof-of-work backbone that people always have the option of using will continue to protect Bitcoin's place, even if it can't match the native functionality of competing digital assets, which indeed is true. If you really think about Bitcoin, it's kind of garbage. From almost any angle, it's kind of bad. And if you're asking, are people really using it? Not really too much, right? I don't know that many people that do most of their transactions on Bitcoin's layer 1 itself. Most people transfer Bitcoin over freaking exchange lines, or fun fact, maybe even wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum because it's just easier to move. The last time I had to move Bitcoin is if I'm moving from my ledger to an exchange, or the opposite way, right? Mostly from exchange to ledger. But before, like years ago, back in the 2018 era, I used to move Bitcoin all the time. All the time, every single day I was transacting and sending Bitcoin. But really, nowadays, not that much. Like, I can't really realize the last time I had to send Bitcoin around. And here, by currency, I really do mean currency, not asset. Bitcoin as a UTXO on the Bitcoin blockchain is, of course, the ultimate source of truth for who owns what. But Bitcoin can derive value and utility from its use on other chains and layers, as well as on centralized exchanges and financial services. A good analogy is XRP being used as a currency on the EVM sidechain. It's not a direct use of XRP on the XRPL, so not its native asset, right? XRP is supposed to be on the XRPL, but you can wrap it, theoretically speaking, transfer it over any network, right? So if it were to move as a currency, as a denominated value on EVM, so for example on Ethereum or any other thing, it's not a direct use of XRP in the expenditure, but it's still part of the utility and value or XRP as a currency. Again, if you want to place this in a good way, theoretically speaking, if we have the dollar, in the dollar bill form, that is then, but even the dollar on online form and dollar as on Ethereum form, right, or EVM form. All three of them are using the same dollar as a currency, but theoretically speaking, it's not in its native form if you're trading USD or for example USDT or RLUSD or USDC, for example, on something else like EVM. So then you're still using the currency, but not a direct use of the network, let's just call it. But it's still part of the utility and value for XP as a currency. Bitcoin is being used in a far more places than just on Bitcoin blockchain itself. So Jimmy Live said, hey, that may be true, but the problem with that is that it allows massive manipulation. And David says, I think that's true. But I'm not particularly worried about manipulation, not because I don't think it's a bad thing that harms people, but because I don't think it matters for the long-term success, and I'm focused more on that. I do think, of course, that it is good and valuable to combat it. Interesting. That's really an interesting opinion. Let's ask him if he thinks something will get bigger than Bitcoin. 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 idea. 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗧𝗧, mid. Bad opinion. So, you know, to be real with you, I don't think his opinion is that weird. Like, honest truth, I don't think his opinion is odd. I would have to agree with him for the most part. I think some people will see this as something bad, but I don't think so. I think it's just a solid, good way to see it. Yeah. I think, again, he's one of the most genius minds when it comes to cryptocurrencies. I'm just taking it in for a second here, just thinking about it. But a solid point that indeed also does make... Oh, Camera slowly but surely catching up. Let's see. Give it a second. You know what I always just keep doing, by the way? It's not the camera, because I also have like a little side screen on my camera. My camera is not stuck even ever, right? Because it's obviously good. It's the connection between the camera and the laptop that's the issue. It's through a few wires, and I think somewhere in there it's not working nicely. So the thing we gotta say about his opinion here is that indeed most of the currencies, they move up and down without really taking a look at the value or what exactly is bringing to the market or anything like that. They just move up. And the funny thing about even XRP is that it was able to move to $3-4 in 2017 based on just hype and excitement alone. Mostly, fun fact, based on the Coinbase listing that was supposedly coming up. But this time around, I think the season, the landscape is different. But then again, most people are not buying Bitcoin for Bitcoin's utility. They're buying it because as a currency, well, it's pretty cool right now, right? As a store of value, it's pretty cool. But for the real use of the network, etc., I'd argue that 5 out of 10 people that are using Bitcoin right now, by buying it, I should say, have never actually used Bitcoin as a network. I'm going to say that's at least half the people trading it right now. And I'd say that for some people, the hope with coins like XRP is that that's where the paradigm shifts, where people are really going to use it in every way, shape, or form. And as a currency, but also as a network, it stays relatively popular. Shanna says, watching from Vegas, 109 degrees, 11 in the morning at my house. Thermometer. Can't wait for fall. I'm right now in South America, and it is actually winter. But we're watching this, so we're recording this from 3 p.m. I was in Vegas like a few weeks ago. Vegas was really, really cool. Man, I don't want to say whatever Vegas had. There's a few things I do not want to name drop right here. But Vegas was such a culture shock to me, man. It is just, if you ever see an American movie, Vegas hits the spot. Is one part. But the second part also is just at the airport, and everywhere you just have ding, 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 which should not be named. Again, ladies and gentlemen, nothing I say in this stream is financial advice. Nothing I say here is any sort of advice whatsoever. All we're talking about is our trades, our positions, and that's about it, right? I can never make you any guarantees, nor will I. Even any one of my trading strategies, these are my strategies, nothing you should be copying, because ultimately, no guarantees are made. I make no guarantees for profit, never. I would never guarantee you anything. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just for education and informative purposes, but everybody knows that. That's funny. Live in LA. Been in Vegas many, many times. I was in LA also a few weeks ago. And where was it again? Marina del Rey. Born and raised here in Vegas and still culture shock. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So the positions have done tremendously worse, right, than they were looking like yesterday. But the funny thing is, again, if you, for example, also went a bit crazy and went for example, an Algorand situation like this, you know, right now we're not down enough where I'd say add. But since generally speaking, our thesis for Bitcoin, right, as at this point is really, really good, really bullish, I'd still say it might actually be worth it to even now try to layer in at minus 25%. But the reason I'm not saying, oh, layer is because if you think about it, we've gone from 30 cents to 28, right? It's like a 2-cent move down. Like not even 10% is what we've moved down here. If you're already going at it right now, while it's only down a few percent, you got to realize that my XRP, let me quickly load it in. My XRP $1 million challenge, right? This was down 14K or something like that, and like 100%, basically 99%, when the bot was at 14K. Meaning, if you right now are at minus 20% or something like that, already starting to add, it can become a really, really big bot quite quickly because you have to keep adding if the price goes down lower and lower and lower. And to some extent, it's just not necessarily the race you want to get yourself into, and realize that even small bots can make you a ton. The thing is just, again, it all depends on your relative account size, and it depends on how hard you want to go on a very short amount of time. All I'm thinking about, though, is opening multiple assets, because if we think about it, There are some assets that won't win, like virtuals. It's minus a few $100, right? But still, over time, it will cash us out the grids. So as long as the price doesn't go down tremendously, you can see it's down from $2 to $170, and we're actually almost still at a profit anyway, right? If we give this another few months, we're still at a profit even though the price is down. But I think we want to take advantage of almost any other one of the volatilities of all these other coins because you just don't know. If we take a look at grid APR, IOTA, Hype, 𝗓𝗓, they're all winning and being the most profitable by just letting them ride. And fun fact, 𝗓𝗓 is still down from where we bought. We bought at 132. It's down, yet we're still up tremendously. First of all, because it's been gritting out, and second of all, because we bought the dip. Now, my strategy is going to just keep on doing that, keep that up. The only thing is, I need a few more coins to go for. And one of you guys was saying VeChain, so I get that one going. Saint says, what's your honest opinion about Flare? Never hear you speak on it, so clear. So clear up why, so I know not to bother you about it. I don't have anything against Flare at all. I just told you before, I didn't really like the Flare guy, the Flare founder or co-founder. I think was a bit of a, I don't know. I didn't like him as a person. Every other person, most of the crypto founders, crypto CEOs, everybody I meet, most people are quite cool, right? Most people are quite nice, quite level-headed, right? It doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter the amount of money you got. You got to stay level-headed. You got to talk to everybody with a bit of respect and just, on a certain level. And, whoever does not treat other people the same way, yeah, well, I don't like those people. So by that stretch also, I think if you can make money on a product, you don't like the founders or whatever, that's cool. Especially, actually, that's nice. If you can make money on them by dumping on people's heads, that's pretty cool, right? But on the opposite side also, I will not be supporting it for that reason. But then again, I've met other cool people at Flare, by the way. So it's not as if everybody's bad. There's a couple of cool peeps I've met. But I just said that was my experience the first time I got into it. And I realized, they're just mostly profiting off of XRP holders with the way they were doing their airdrop. I didn't really respect that too much. But nowadays, my camera is so behind, man. Look at this. I can't even flow my fingers nicely. So sad. So sad. I should just do it no camera route, huh? That way we have a lot more room, by the way. I really realized that. But yeah, so that is the main idea behind that. So Flare itself, pretty good. Would I go all in or anything like that? No, obviously not. Does it have a couple of good perks? Yes, it does. Would it let me to take away money from other currencies to put into it? No, I wouldn't do that. Do I still have some Flare? Yeah, because it was airdropped to me, right? It was given to me for free, so I still got some. And it turned out to be a pretty good idea. But there's also a lot of FLR that I did not claim because I had to connect my wallet and stuff, and I didn't want to do none of that. But yeah, it's fine. Uh-oh, did our channel just get banned? Stress level 99. Did my channel just get banned? I really hope not. Let's take a look. Oh, I think we're still here. What happened? Anybody still here? I think we're still good. I don't know what happened just there then. Why did it get taken down? You can see the live streams tab right here, right? It just went down all of a sudden. I don't know why. So also I tried to sign up to be honest with the VPN, but still required ID. Any idea? Yeah, contact support, say reset it, or because if you did a VPN, they cannot be asking for ID. If they really did, just say, hey, there's been a mistake, reset the KYC thing, because I'm not using KYC, and I know for a fact you don't have to, even if you're using a VPN, because that's whatever. Anyway, that's one. And second is, can I unban you from that? You mean just that what happened is you logged in with the wrong IP and they said you have to do KYC or something like that? If that's the thing, again, contact support. If they can't help you, I don't know. It's got to be work. You can text me. Maybe I can just send your UID over. But the only thing I can do also is just tell them to... I think what they'll tell me is just go contact support. Dusty, what do you think? Bybit or Payonics? So the thing is, they all serve different purposes. All right? So for me, let me explain it. So I have a few different exchanges always down below, right? One is Payonics right now because the bots are pretty freaking good. So I have that every single day, every single time. Two is Blowfin because, well, they had a pretty nice bonus. And because for some of the trading things, it's quite nice. But most importantly, because they don't check that much. And Bybit is where I used to do all my trading on. Every single one of my trades used to be Bybit and Binance, but Binance is kind of garbage. But then I realized 95% of the people watching can't use Bybit. So then again, it went Blowfin, and also because one of my good friends changed from working at one exchange to another. So again, it's easier to get stuff done, easier to get a line of actual information, all that type of stuff. It's not like I can get insider scoops or anything because they don't know, right? Some people say, yeah, but those guys, they must know everything. No. You'd be surprised how little people on the bottom of the totem pole know about anything. Same thing for the whole FTX situation, but it's a different day. I wonder how Pump Fund is still doing right now. Can you check the XP chart? Yes, we can do that. We're not doing anything though. Like earlier, I was thinking, like, oh, I gotta. Because the price was moving nicely. But all of a sudden right now, we're not doing too much. Like it all of a sudden moved back to $3. I was so excited to open up another stream or something like that. Aldrich says still live. Yeah, but we skipped the night, obviously. There was like 12 hours of downtime. 10 hours of downtime. Self-aware says a lot of crypto influencers are getting hit with frivolous accusations. Yes, we unfortunately are also part of that list. I told y'all last night, if you have a little bit like a minute or so, maybe 30 seconds of your time, please head over to my Twitter and help me out by tagging YouTube and YouTube creators under this post of mine. Right? I asked it a few times. Not that many people actually take the time to do it. I'll quickly go and put it in the chat here, so hopefully more people are willing to try it out. There we go. Because all I'm asking you is head over to Twitter and just quickly tag YouTube creators and Team YouTube. Why? Because they took my stream down, and I don't care about that too much. One stream, what's it going to do for me, right? But the problem now is that the moment they take something else down, my channel is going to be gone for a week. And the moment they take something else down, it's going to be gone for 2 weeks, and afterwards your channel is deleted. Now again, you might want to see my downfall. I really understand, but some people, maybe you do want to help. And that way, this is the best way you can if you wanted to. Somebody says, are you going to buy Pump? The funny thing is, from a, let's call it revenue perspective, getting into Pump here at these prices does make sense. Then again, if you missed the pre-sale, it kind of feels wacky to go for it right now. But from any other angle, I feel as if Pump is just something I don't want to get involved with, just because it's really not my forte. Then again, it does make sense for it to be a top tier crypto because, well, everybody knows it. Everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's been using it, in the meme coin landscape. So at that point, why go against what is most popular? But my counter would be, I'm going against what's most popular because I think it's garbage. But then again, they are generating a lot of revenue. They're not doing the biggest buyback, like Hype is doing better, but Hype is also worth 10 times as much right now. It seems, though, that altcoins are, there's nothing really holding them back anymore right now. So many people were saying, no, but the Monday is going to be the dumpy day, but Monday. We've come to Monday, nothing's holding these coins down, boys. Somebody just came in the chat to say he ate peanut butter yesterday. Man, really, some of y'all are a bit odd. I don't want to be that guy to tell you in case you didn't know, but you're a pretty weird individual. Just telling other people you are eating peanut butter. Like, why are you doing that, bud? What you doing that for? But yeah, I'm also now being more careful with the way I title the stream. Whereas before I could have a completely different title. Right now I'm being way more cautious. Because, again, I do not want it to get taken down. So what is the strategy about XRP currently? Well, if you all remember, we still are actually waiting for the major XRP play to work out. Do I have it still open? I do not have it still open. Let's quickly go ahead and find it. So again, this is basically what we think is going to happen to altcoins, which is currently going strong. This is what we think is going to happen to XRP. Right now, we are at the most important resistance for XRP, and we still think that this will play out towards the like $10 mark. And funny, remember that I posted this when XRP was at like what, $2.20, something like that. We posted this beforehand. Thus far, it's been going pretty nicely, and it's similar to what we posted for Bitcoin previously. And it's just like what I've been saying about XLM just now. Many coins are actually still quite cheap. You just get caught up in the idea of thinking like, oh, they're so high because. But if you look at the total market cap for alts, we have not really seen anything crazy just quite yet. If you take a look at, this is Bitcoin, by the way, on the 4 hour. What a massive downturn over the past 8 hours or something like that, right? But really, that's again, very short-sighted thinking. If you look at it from a broader scale, even just buying right now, it's still extremely cheap for the opportunity. Somebody says, if you touch the 𝗕𝗀𝗀𝗧𝗧 site from a different restricted country IP, you cannot trade anymore. You have to pull all funds, close account, and start a fresh account, ensuring there's a good VPN on the connection. Or just contact the support. You know what? Brian says, where can I send you a message? Just send me a message on, I don't know, Twitter or Instagram. Brian says, where can I send you a message for the unban thing? If something really happened to you, let me know. I'll try to help you out. There's not that much I can do. But if it's like something that's not your fault, at least I want to know, right? So I'll try to help you out, my friend. All you got to do, just send me a little message. See if it's something that's not your mistake. If it's just like a country thing, for example, oh, you logged in from the wrong country. I've done that many times. All you got to do is just contact them and say, hey, man, there's been a mistake. That's pretty easy. I don't think you need to pool all your funds. Just let me know. I'll help you out. Even though you can just support like, hey, it was a mistake. I'm not from this country. But whatever. Somebody says, I watched this movie, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. There are Dutch people that are a bit weird as well. Funny movie though. It is a funny movie, my friend. You're right. He says, I contacted customer support. They don't want to do nothing. Can't trust them. You know, I don't know, a funny thing. And this is a really funny thing. I contacted YouTube customer support for all various issues. They will never do anything. So if you think that just because a platform customer support doesn't want to help you, can't use the platform, let me tell you something. 9 out of 10 customer supports in the world are pretty useless. But, you know, even YouTube, you might think, oh, but you're a creator. You have hundreds of thousands of people watching you on YouTube. They will help you, right? If you have any issue at all. Never. If you have even the minorest of issues, they'll look you in the face and they'll give you the double finger right there, the double whammy. YouTube does not care. Not at all. They will throw you off within a second and they will never try to help you at all. And you think it's Google, it's YouTube. They must have, you know, with the amount of money you're making them, they must have put a dedicated No. It doesn't matter who you are, unless you're maybe at the top of the top. They don't give a crap about you. Turbo. Dusty, what do you think about price predictions for like crazy high levels? You know what I always think about that? It's cool to talk about, but it's not really useful to me. Like, I consider more some of these shorter term outlooks. For example, hey, this does make a lot of sense for XRP to flow in a similar fashion. Just kind of get the rally we saw back in November going again, because right now the market is ready for it. Oh, boys, we're coming back up. We're pumping. And then see another funny thing. To me, to see this at 296 is insane. I'm looking at this thinking, wow. But some people will be like, oh, but it's not as high as it was before. Man, you got to find some things to get excited about, friend. Anybody, if you have the KYC thing at Ponyx, it's an issue, send me a message on Instagram or Twitter, one of them right now. Just send me exactly your issue. And if I can help it, I'll send you a message back. But you know what the amount of people do? There's about 20 people a day. What they send me on Twitter is, can I ask you a question? So I never respond to that. Just send me exactly your question right away. And it should get, I'll try to help out as many people as I can. But people, for some reason, they think that, can I ask you a question, is a good question to ask. Why would anybody ever do that? But I get at least 10, 20 a day of people doing that. Does anyone in here work at YouTube customer service? No, people don't. This is the guy that just said he was eating peanut butter last night. He says, I'm just saying something. He just wanted everybody to know he ate peanut butter, huh? My favorite movie in this moment to make money is The Big Short. Matter of fact, if the Big Short is one of your favorite movies right here, my friend, I don't think you're gonna be in a good spot, because The Big Short is essentially doing the exact opposite of what you should be doing most of the time. Let me tell you, if you are a person that's kind of normal, not focused on every single minute detail in an entire landscape, which again, if you are, you probably wouldn't be in this chat because you'd be probably either too autistic or too just focused on the numbers. How can you listen to somebody speak, right? Or maybe because you're with a fellow ringer. This is a possibility. But in general, The Big Short does not work for 98% of people because you got to go against the grain. When you're seeing a major, massive uptrend for Bitcoin, you got to realize it's actually all garbage. You got to put a lot of money into it, got to convince a lot of other people who will not listen. Then still, regardless of every single moving point, the fact that it's most profitable for BlackRock, the fact that the president is pushing it, every single one of these, no pushing it, it's going better than ever. You got to say, no, this is where it ends. This is where we go down. No more up, this and no further. And the reason that's so stupid is because you're going against every single thing that makes sense because you have a feeling it should be a lower price, or it's mispriced or overly hyped. And the reason you don't do that is because you're going to be wrong 99% of the time. Even if you're right in essence that it's actually supposed to have a lower value, most of the time it's going to go up so much further before it collapses that you timing the exact collapse on something is so hard. It's just stupid for most people. It works, and if it does, you'll make a ton. But since you're going to be wrong so often, that's why a lot of people don't say it's a smart idea. Again, if in history you looked at Bitcoin and you thought, you know what? Well, let me quickly find the big chart. You know what? This is where the collapse should start. Like Peter Schiff, all those guys. You know how many people said that back in 2017, 2018? Even people were saying, I'm so happy I sold Bitcoin. Finally, this garbage at $25 a coin back in maybe 2011, 2013, something like that. Or 2012, I don't know. Right? But even here in this run, people were so often saying, this is the later run, even in 2017, that run, people were saying, oh, finally, it's going to collapse right now. The bubble is gone. You know, once it popped from $20,000 down. There were people shorting it. And then at $3,000, they quadrupled their short because they realized it's going to zero right now. And then all of a sudden, from the $3,000 mark, it ended up now going to $120,000 because, again, they were wrong. Now, maybe you might say on the short term they were right. Yeah, but that's a different story, right? With the Big Short, they were basically there to see the entire thing collapse. And again, you being right on the exact day of, or I guess the exact few months of the collapse is hard. And again, the amount of money you're going to have to keep pushing in until you're right is also hard. I don't know. I think most people, they're not cut out for shorting the top. It's a goated movie though, not gonna lie. Like, it's so cool. And I think a lot of people, they wish they would be that person, that guy. You know why, by the way? So the thing which you guys might not understand is if you used for any one of these platforms, like for Pionex, for Blowfin, any one of my links, the nice thing is, because I sometimes have trading competitions and stuff like that, everybody who uses them is automatically in my team, right? So if you send me a UID, I could just send it over and be like, hey, a person that's in my team is having an issue with his account, and there's a good chance they can look into it. If you did not use any of the links down below, there's a good chance I can't actually help you because you might fall under somebody else or something like that. But you can still send it over. I can still try for you, regardless, by the way. But at least then it's out of my range. We are pumping. I mean, it's all right. If you woke up like after a good long nap, you know, and you've been sleeping for like the past, I don't know, 13 hours, then yes, we are pumping tremendously because XRP was below $2.90 by that point. But if you were here like the last few hours, XRP went above $3 for a little bit. And you guys are you must be so happy that I was not streaming when this was happening, because I would have flipped my freaking desk the moment we went to $3.03. All right, I would be throwing a freaking tantrum, gorilla level right there. Or are you meaning that Bitcoin is pumping? Maybe you just mean like on a more zoomed out note that XRP is doing good. Because I mean overall, we can look at the short term and be like, ah, but over the longer term, we are doing amazing right now, guys. We are looking juiced up. Hey, one of the funny things, the only thing I'm thinking of is where do I open even more bots? Where do I open even more positions? Where do I go even crazier? Because right now we're doing good, but we can do so much better. So I just want to go. I want to go even crazier. I mean, we've already been able to. Boys, we're getting close to another compound. So for any of you, if you want to remember, this is the 10K to a million challenge. The whole idea is I'm going to be compounding this. Every single time it gets about 5% worth of profit because, theoretically speaking, we only need to compound about 95 times and we should be at $1 million. I mean, we right now are not that far in. We started this 2 months ago and right now we are at, I'm going to say between 17 and 18 is what we're at. Why it's not perfect? Because, you know, obviously if you're doing 5%, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 4, sometimes, okay, it's never 4 really. Sometimes it's 7.8. So that's why it's not perfect, but the core thesis still stands. That if we keep this up about 95 times, we should be at $1 million. Now again, can I guarantee you these results? No, but everything here is public. Also, I will say one more thing. With this strategy, it's a 10K to $1 million an actual investment challenge, right? It's not a after leverage challenge. But also, this could be done without leverage, and even though it would take a lot more time, is so much easier because now if the market moves against us, because you keep reinvest, your average price keeps getting higher and higher and higher. Like right now we're at 295 and we are not doing that good. We're up like 1%, right? Whereas we started this at 236. The thing people have to understand is if the market goes against you, this will be at a massive loss for a while. Before it was at actually matter of fact, for most of its duration, it's been at a massive, massive loss. And that's the principle. That's the whole idea. Because the idea is going to cash out these profits all the time. Just keep grinding. But that also means that for most of the people, this might not be something within their forte. They might not handle watching this. And I'm not saying go copy it. I'm just saying this is my strategy. This is what I'm doing. Now the sirens sounds like how bear in the US. Can you guys hear the sirens when they're outside? Akib says the grid bot will be goated for some of those older coins because they don't move. If you got any bots, any coins you'd like me to open one for, let me know. Right? There's two that people have said. One is VeChain and one was Pengu. But the thing is, Pengu today is not as interesting no more. So I wonder if people still want it. Today, some of the interesting coins are Algorand, Sui, Uniswap. JB says it just DM'd you on X. All right, just make sure that if you DM me, never ask me, can I ask you a question? Always state your question straight away. All right, you can send me 2 messages, it's fine. Right? But never just say, can I ask you something? Is it the right place? Is it, can I, just ask whatever you want to ask and it will get sorted. But again, there's too many people saying, can I ask you? And it's always just going over. But most of the time, if you have like a logical question, I try to help as many people as possible. But you have to understand, there's a lot of people asking me the exact same thing. Also, somebody, I think Brian, can you send it to me in English so I can just send it to them instantly? Otherwise, I'm going to have to translate everything from Dutch to English myself. But I got you, all right? I think what I've read just now, I don't think it should be too hard. Robert says we go down, buddy. Uh-oh. Ooh! Oh. Oh. Who's doing that? It was you, Robert, wasn't it? He said we're going down, and then all of a sudden the price moves down tremendously, huh? It was Robert, boys. Rob, why are you doing this to us, man? Why are you doing that? He's just a little boy. Who was that? It was Robert. No, I was too accurate on this one. Also, this is how you can sometimes get stuck up and do really FOMO-y things. If you zoom out, are we really doing that bad? If you zoom out for Bitcoin, right, are we really doing that bad? Even though we just had a little splinter of a peak. Really, for the most part, it's just looking joyfully beautiful. And again, looking at the history, it's almost never been a bad idea to ape a bit into like a crazy BTC pump. What's the news today? Partially Trump has been saying some interesting stuff. We talked about it just now. XRP wise, it's interesting what 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗏 just said, talking about real value of networks, I guess. Let's see, did it respond to me? No, it's got no views at all, so I don't think so. Wait a minute. Let's see. Did 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗏 say anything else? Let's see real quick. I should say the price doesn't seem to correlate with true value, utility, or able to solve real-world problems in the short term. It's certainly possible that it does over longer term. So yeah, I still think that's a really, really fair statement. Yep, I still think it's really, really fair. Bounce? I mean, I think we're going to still keep bouncing. And like the fun part is, my main bot here, this is not a bot, this is actually just a long. Sometimes, I think people must forget that this is an interesting emotion, right? I really do wonder how many people would feel a certain way just seeing your money go up and down this much. All right, so just consider for a second the amount of money we've got open in these positions. So right now it's plus 178,000, right? Let's see. Let's look back in a minute. Now we're up 60 bucks. Now we're up, I don't know, a few hundred maybe, I don't know. Now it's 179. Now it's 178.8. And then if you multiply this by a few times, because first of all, you have a portfolio, right? You have just coins. This is just a few trades, right? You multiply it over all these other trades, which again are a pretty good penny. You start really adding it all up. It's kind of funny how much it moves every single second, every single minute. Just moves, moves, moves. It's actually an interesting thing to handle. But MT says, what's the news, the major news? So I think the most interesting news throughout the day, maybe that pump fund is live. Maybe that. I mean, that's one thing I think that's quite interesting. The secondary thing I have to say, if I had to say something, is, like I said earlier, the fact that Bitcoin from BlackRock became their most profitable ETF just now. I think that's also quite huge. And we have 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗏, if you know. He's just been shouting that we're going to go face a bear market again. But no. Bitcoin broke above 121,000 first time in history. Bitcoin knows just how bad the U.S. deficit spending crisis truly is. Keep watching Bitcoin. This is not a normal. We have reached a point where Bitcoin is moving in literal straight line higher. Really, not that much, to be honest with you. We're up like 10% or so and not that fast. NVIDIA has done crazier numbers. Rates are rising. USD is down 11% in 6 months. And crypto is up $1 trillion in 3 months. What's happening? Bitcoin has entered crisis mode. Again, I do not consider that to be the truth. I think we need to go up significantly more for that to be a reality. Hey, where you guys are watching from today? Like I already asked a little bit earlier in the stream, but we've been streaming for a good, pretty time. We've been streaming for like an hour and a half. So let me ask it again. And everybody, if you're not done it yet, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on this. If you right now watching this, you're right there, all right? Look at this HD finger. If you right now watch this, we are instantly at 199 because right now we are 198. So make sure you press that button. We'll instantly be done, but you got to press it because you're, oh, I'm stuck. At least you can see a nice little smile right there. Because you right now must be thinking, oh, I don't have to press it because, well, but now we're stuck at 198 because you're not pressing it. So make sure you press that button, and we're instantly at 199. Again, we are stuck at 198 right now. But if you press it, we are at 199. So, you might say your one person doesn't change much. Well, it does, because you can see we're still at 198. We still are at 198. None of you guys are pressing that button. So if you didn't really feel like it, right now is your best time. Because we're still at 198. Damn. All right. Tough times. Tough times. But it's okay. You know what? You guys do you. All right? If you guys want to be scrounging with them likes. I'm watching from Hooters, Scotland. Oh, here we go. I think we just have a bit more of a delay today, actually, matter of fact. Hooters, Scotland, MN, Manchester, England, up the Reds, Mexico. We got Rotterdam, Dubai. We got Central Texas, we got Netherlands. Pump the likes. Karim, welke dip? South Africa. Straks is er geen dip. Yeah. You know the funny thing? People often talk about dips, right? You know that dips in bull markets like this, I always consider to be a really big blessing. Like, you never expect a major dip to come anymore. And if it does, you take it with both hands. On the opposite side, you always prepare for dips, even though you don't expect them to happen. That's a funny thing. Alpha on the 𝗕𝗁𝗄, what is that? You know these little croissants that they have over here? I've been enjoying the crap out of them, alright? I don't really like pastries like this. Volgens mij, Annelies, dumpt XRP op 62, dan koop ik hem terug. Alright. This guy's saying, following my analysis, XRP is going to dump at 260 and then I'll be buying back. My brother, really? Interesting. I don't know. I feel as if from a risk reward perspective it's not worth it to think that way. I still feel as if the upside is a little bit better than downside. I don't feel like it's worth banking on this downside that people are talking about. There's a possibility. We got Hopium saying Bitcoin going to go down to 104, huh? America! Brockton, Massachusetts. Money on the side in case of a dip, but it will only be a short one during a sleep, most likely. You know, if you right now are wondering when will the craziest pump ever happen for our crypto coins, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be when you sleep. You're gonna decide one day, oh, I'm gonna go and sleep nice and early, nice and my blanket is so nice and warm. What a comfortable situation I'm in. And that is where you get left behind. That's where you get left in the dust. It's already coded as a problem. All right, there's nothing you can do about it. There's a 98% chance you're going to be asleep, and that's when the craziest move in history is going to happen. So the moment you now decide, oh yeah, I'm done for the night, that's probably when it happens. Just this night as well, to give a good example. Last night we were streaming. We're having the time of our lives. And I'm like, if I'll put a trigger so that if XRP goes back to 294, 295, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to... Then I realized, you know what? XRP ain't going to do shit this night. I'm just going to go to bed. And all of a sudden I wake up and see the price went to $3.03. Now I would not have done anything if it was to 303. Because what can I do, right? It's not high enough for me to do anything. But it would have been fun to watch. Then again, I still would say one more thing. If you're right now in a position where really you are looking at this thinking about your gains like, whoa, what in the world's going on? For example, maybe you were following my XLM bot before and you right now are seeing gains you've never witnessed before, because a lot of people probably are. It's not a bad idea to just cash some out. I'm just going to be completely, fully transparent with you. Even though I do believe we'll go way higher, you never really know, right? And remember another thing. Remember that the feeling you're feeling right now of, I wish I could have bought cheaper. Keep this in the back of your head, because if the market moves down, if it does, most people will say like, we're going to zero, But remember that in the good times like this, you wish you would have bought yourself more when things were low. Keep that consideration. Keep that mindset. Keep that up. It's hard, because once things start moving down, you get afraid, you get scared. Right? It's not fun when all of a sudden things are in the red, but ultimately it being in the red is what makes you all the 𝗕𝗁𝗄𝗀 over time. I want you guys to consider that really, really carefully. Hopium says, the moon boys get carried away and forget this is crypto. Still, I'd like to argue my case of saying, every single time Bitcoin broke out, and I still would like to say it again, every single time Bitcoin broke out, it was a pretty crazy rally afterwards. Every single time it broke the high, the local high, it was a pretty crazy rally afterwards for multiple weeks on end. Now again, there are some weeks right there where you don't see the massive amount of volatility, but I don't think it's really happened in the past before within a bullish part of the cycle that the market actually reversed the next week. Like, it's not happened. Except for maybe here, you see this week was not as crazy, but generally speaking, the logic really applied ever since this new bull market started. So banking on a correction right here is kind of odd. I mean, it can happen, but historically speaking, it doesn't, because this is the one that we had the breakout candle for. This is the start of everything. Peter says money on the side in case of a dip, but it will it'll be only a short one during a sleep most likely. Yeah, that's what he said just now. You're right. For most people, it happens exactly when they decide to hit the sack, hit the sleep. Yep, such is life, my friend. Market gives few chances for re-entry. Yep. All right. But for the most part, right now we are in chilling mode. Not too much to do, not too much to cover. Prices are slowly but surely going sideways. Not much happening. And since there's no crazy news, guys, I think this is again time where we end it off right now. If something crazy happens, I'll be back with another stream, but I don't want to waste everybody's time as well, since we don't have that much to say right now as it stands, like this minute. I'm going to be rooting for something crazy to happen, though. If it does, I'll be back to give you all an update. Right now, though, I'm so tired. Nothing's happening. We're chilling. Oh, my camera keeps getting stuck as well. I'm going to try to fix this camera. I don't know what I can do about it. It's not that much. But, lads, I'm going to go lay down for a little second, I think. I appreciate all of you stopping by and saying hi. It was really, really cool. We had a few thousand people, like 4,000 people stop by and say hi over the last stream. That is nice. For the past almost 2 hours, something like that. If something happens, I'll be back with another stream. If you didn't do yet, make sure you put that notification bell on, because the moment that something happens, you want to be notified. That's all I'm saying, right? Make sure you get that notification bell on. And I'll get you guys with another stream whenever something crazy happens, right?